Ah, bollocks.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. I put out a video of Beachhead on the C64 earlier this week because it's one of my favourite games. And it kind of came to mind that I've never actually played any other version of the game. Now, given how much I love the game, I thought I'd better check it out, other versions, just to see what they're like. So this is just me taking a look at other versions. So yeah, this is the Atari 800 one. This looks alright. It looks quite similar to the C64 one. The sound is quite similar as well. I mean, the Atari 800 and the C64 are quite similar spec anyway. So yeah, this looks pretty identical to the Commodore one. I like the wee sad face when the boat's going right up the screen. Like that. Again, that looks pretty much like the C64 one. Sounds not quite as good, but nevertheless it's quite impressive. And this is a big tester. It's not as good as the C64 one. It's kind of white noise. Graphically it looks almost identical. Nice sharp graphics. Yeah, I'm not overly impressed with oops, what's happened there? Don't know. It was a glitch, governor. Obviously changing something. I'm actually doing the commentary. I just noticed something. That little plane, that little orange plane thing actually appeared from the border of the screen. Right, this is it's not bad sound effects. This is a level you've got to try and take out the fleet before they destroy all your boats. There's one down. Basically, the way this works is you'll see it says at the bottom 200 metres short. To work it out, 1 degree is 100 metres. So all you do is you take off 2 zeros and then divide it by 2, and then that gives you the number of degrees you need to change. So 64 long means I'm 23 degrees too much. So if we reduce that by 23, that should hopefully take it out. There we go. So yeah, that's not bad. Sound effects are alright. Again, not as good as the C64 in my opinion. Right, this is the last level. This looks pretty identical to the C64 one. Scrolling, I was going to say scrolling's a bit smoother. Strangely enough, the C64 and the Atari 800 are renowned for having silky smooth scrolling, but for some reason the scrolling in this particular game it kind of stops, it kind of judders a wee bit. I don't know where that was. Slightly different colours, but the Atari did have a better colour palette than the Commodore. There's the big base. Okay, we're actually driving up to it. Yeah, this looks pretty identical to the Commodore 64 one. Right, this one is the Amstrad. You can always tell an Amstrad game, it's always got nice bright graphics. Right away you can see everything looks a bit zoomed in. Compared to other stuff, everything's huge. Right, okay, this is slightly different. You can see there the exit to this screen is huge, whereas on the Atari and the C64 one it's quite a small little gap you've got to navigate through. So I think this one's a wee bit easier. As you can tell, I didn't record the whole game because it ran on for hours. So I think I recorded a minute of each section. Well, I did play the whole game, but I only recorded a minute of each one to make it more watchable. So this second level's alright. I was able to go in a complete straight line there without even turning. Right. Again, everything's that bit bigger looking. Graphics are huge looking. This was pretty good. The graphics for the actual planes themselves is quite detailed. I've got to say, the sound is probably better than what Atari one was. And that's quite a good version of that level. Right, and again, there's no real surprises here. This is pretty much identical to the Atari one. It's less a huge splash and more a little plop when the when the missile hits the water. It's like skimming a stone. Not quite as impressive. There's less boats there as well, I noticed. I think there's a couple more in the Atari and the C64 one. But nice and bright, nice and clear. You know exactly what you're having to do. Right, this is the last level. The tank sprite has actually got a bit of movement. You see the wee tracks are actually moving, so that's a step up from the Atari and the C64 one. The scrolling's a bit not the greatest, which in a game like this where you're having to navigate through a sort of pseudo 3D bit, it's difficult at the best of times, so this might not be very easy. Aye, the scrolling's a wee bit naff. And everything seems to judder to almost a stop when you fire a bullet, which is a bit strange. Right, okay, this is the that was the Amstrad one, this is the Spectrum one. I'm sure I have played this one before. That's not bad, it's obviously less colours, but that's because the Spectrum has fewer colours in their palette. Now this is almost identical to C64, obviously less colour, and your boat can move a lot quicker as well, notice. Which definitely makes this level a wee bit easier because you know the boat does move quicker. Again, there's not a lot to really choose between this version and other versions I've looked at. Right, let's move in and take on some aeroplanes, shall we? Sound, as we expect, for the Spectrum isn't great. And everything seems to kind of slow up a wee bit. As the plane kind of starts to pass overhead and you start firing these. Maybe that's just the sound effects, I'm not too sure, it might be actually. But the animation's alright, again, quite similar to the C64 and the Atari one. The Amstrad's definitely got the most sort of graphically impressive bit for this stage, I think. That's more like it. Got a decent splashing effect. Now this one was quite hard to play because the actual your gun turret degrees moved up really quick, so trying to actually get it to stop where you want it was quite difficult. Would have been helpful in this game if you could actually have typed it in using a keyboard. Right on. Oh, half more degrees. There we go. Right, on to the last level. This has got a wee, you can see the tanks quite well animated, again, which is better than the 64 and the Atari one. I'm going to show you the C64 one to finish off, just in case you've not watched the my earlier video. Colours are a bit naff. I think they might have been better going for monochrome, because having a green wall and a purple such and such looks like kids' toy building blocks. I would like to see a remake of this game with nice smooth scrolling, silky smooth scrolling. Possibly because it was an early game, they just didn't, I don't know. Like I says, even the Atari and the C64, which are renowned for having good scrolling, even this section wasn't the greatest. The level seems to be slightly bigger, so there seems to be a bit more space to can you get through as well. Just need to watch out for these wee gun placements. That's nice and bright looking. Quick. You certainly get a bit more time in this this version as well. Hey! Here comes the white flag. That's the Spectrum one. That's actually pretty good. Right, this is the last one. This is the BBC. Now, I didn't hold up high hopes for this one. You can see you're driving I think you're actually in a speedboat in this version. But you actually go a bit too quick, which is the reason I kept crashing. And you can see there's a nice wee bit of animation on the actual mines themselves, sort of bobbing up and down. Yeah, the graphics in this one are you would call them functional at best, I think. Right, let's move in. It's quite a good firing sound, but I didn't notice any real sound effects of the planes when they pass over. I like the wee sort of reflective effects in the water, that's quite nice. Now I've got to say, it took me quite a long time, that level we just left, it took me quite a long time, quite a few goes to actually get past it. It was just difficult. And you can see here, they seem to fire bullets a lot quicker as well. You can be very quick. Now again, when you're moving the joystick up and down, the actual elevation was changing really quick, so it was quite hard to kind of get an exact, get exactly what you wanted. So you take 2.5 off of that, 75.5. Come on, up, up. There we go. And I've just lost another ship. Right, let's move in for the last level. Now this one you can see, this is actually probably the most impressive out of all of them for this section. The animation of the tank's nice. You've actually got a wee bit of parallax scrolling going on there, and the actual scrolling itself is pretty good. But as you'll soon see, it was just too difficult because of the speed. But yeah, I'd probably say this, the BBC's got the most impressive last section, although I found it far too difficult. Yeah, even when you die there, you see the wee wheels falling off the tank, so that's really nice. Right, okay, this is the last one. This is the C64 version, just so you can compare them. I've got to say, it just looks that bit nicer. I think because it was originally programmed for the C64, you know, the game was programmed with the C64 hardware in mind, whereas other ones were all ports. I don't know about the Atari 800, if that was before or after the C64 one, not too sure. Oh! Oh! Got me third time. You know, the wee rate sonar thing in the C64 is just perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry, this version with that sound effect absolutely loads other ones at the water. That is a phenomenal sound effect, it really is. It just shows you the versatility of the SID chip, what people could actually do with it. Even that sound effect of the sort of bomb getting dropped, you know, it's quite an eerie sound. Just really adds to the ambience of the game, having the good sound, it really does. Right, let's move on to the last section. Now this one, probably the colours in this particular version are nice. It, you know, looks very kind of battlefieldish, you know, with the greys and the sort of greenery at the back. What does let it down is obviously there's completely no animation on the tank tracks, so the wee Amstrad sprite or even the BBC one would look quite nice in this one. Again, the scrolling isn't the greatest, but then that was the same for every single version I looked at. I dare say if this game had come out a couple of years after, it would have been silky smooth. What's interesting is the fact that, you know, you've got this same game getting published on different systems by the same publisher, but obviously individual programming teams did their own take in it, and that's why some of the different levels in this game vary slightly. You know, they weren't given an exact template to stick to. Well, they did, but you know what I mean, just the actual layout's slightly different. But yeah, great game nevertheless, but in my opinion the C64 one still reigns supreme. So anyway guys, as usual, I hope you enjoyed watching it, and lastly, thanks very much for watching.